Hey, what's up guys, it's Fisayo here, and this is my unboxing and my experience with the Infinix Hot 8. I've been using this device for the past week now, and I feel I can share some knowledge on it. For context, the Hot 7 was launched in January of 2019, which was an Android 8 Go edition device with only 1GB of RAM and 2GB of RAM options. The Hot 7 Pro came later in March, and it was an upgrade with Android 9 with a bigger 3GB of RAM and 6GB of RAM with better storage. Now in September, we have the Hot 8, which is a slicker looking device because of the water drop notch, but it's in between the previous two with a 2GB and 4GB of RAM option and a 32GB and 64GB storage option. I'll cover all the details, my experience, the pros and cons, and more in this video. Without further ado, let's get to it. Firstly, as far as unboxing, the Hot 8 has a pretty familiar case. Right on the box is the 4G LTE 32GB of storage and the Files app, which we'll get to later, and of course the specs and promoted SIM cards on the back. Inside the box, the first thing we get is the Infinix Hot 8 itself, which has a 5000 mAh battery this time. It has a 6.6-inch HD Plus, still 720p display, direct sound mode, which we haven't seen in a while in the Hot series, triple camera setup, and the Files app, which is from Google's partnership with Infinix to make the phone faster. I'll be getting to all of these in a bit, as well as the device later. Inside the box, we've also got the customer service card, and underneath that is the gift box, which houses the SIM ejector tool. Inside said box, we've got the X Club invite, user manual, and this nice soft case with a lot of illustrations. And this case is similar to what we had on the Smart 3 Plus from Infinix. I also used it a lot during my day-to-day use. And still in the box, we've got the screen protector, onboarding card for Google Files app with the explainers on how you can clean your phone by freeing up space, browse your Files app faster, and share files without using your data. We also get to the regular charging brick, earpiece, and the normal USB 2 cable. That's pretty much all we get in the box. When we take the wrap of the Hot 8, we see the 6.6-inch device with that water drop notch and visible camera at the top and a full glossy layout on the front. Taking the wrap off, the back shows you the gradient polycarbonate back, which ties to these new trends. Right at the back is where we get the triple camera setup, flash, fingerprint reader, and Infinix's logo. At the bottom of the back is where we get the Hot inscription and designed by Infinix below it. On the right side, we get a kind of textured power button and volume rockers. On top, there's nothing there, and on the left side is where we get the micro SD card and the SIM slot. The slot is expandable by 256GB compared to 128GB of expandable storage on both the Hot 7 and the Hot 7 Pro. So the Hot 8 is definitely the winner here. On the bottom of the Hot 8, we've got the speaker grill, the USB port, microphone port, and the headphone jack. On the front of the Hot 8 is where we get the earpiece, and below it is the 8-megapixel selfie camera with an actual front-facing flash. Fun fact, when you're booted in, you can turn the flashlight on the front and the back simultaneously to get quote-unquote 360 degrees light source. It took me exactly 2 minutes to set up the Infinix Hot 8 from boot up, and skipping some of the steps, it ushers us into XOS Cheetah based on Android 9 with the same tool and app shortcut drawer to the side and all the extra modes in the control center, just like what we're used to. The display of the Hot 8 is a 720p LCD display, just like the other two Hot series devices earlier this year. So YouTube videos will load at a maximum of 720p and not 1080p. It is exactly 720 by 1600 with an 81.5% screen to body ratio. As far as viewing angles, it looks just fine both indoors and outdoors. It gets plenty bright as well. I felt that the bottom bezels were quite big, and in fact you can still hide the notch to match the chin, but I will leave it that way. It's got eye care, read mode, and you can adjust the font as well. You can also adjust the position of the capacitive buttons if you want. I personally use the mixed mode instead of the regular buttons as it felt more cleaner to me. You have this same iPhone style bar to swipe up for multitasking and also tap to go home. And something that's also pretty interesting is that this slider has a feature to view all the open apps. It's just a well utilized version of Android 9, of course, that we're used to again. Moving on to the build quality of the Hot 8, the back of this device is of course a fingerprint magnet, but I was able to use my case to help with this both structurally and aesthetically. The case also looked very good. The device is 8.7mm thick, which is 0.7 thicker than the Hot 7 and the Hot 7 Pro, which are both 8mm devices. Personally, I think the Hot 8 is larger because of the 5000 mAh battery. battery. Speaking of battery, I played PUBG for 1 hour straight, which consisted of 3 games, and from 38% while also screen recording, it went down to 23%, which is quite impressive. I definitely had a hard time enjoying the game I played specifically on the Hot 8 because I got significant lag in every game. It was mostly noticeable in PUBG despite being in the low graphics settings, and even Asphalt 9 didn't play well. And when I changed it to performance mode, it still had that lag in graphics. Charging speed varied as well. From 0 to 100%, it took me just a little over 2 hours, exactly 2 hours and 29 minutes. My model comes with 32GB of onboard storage, which is expandable to 256GB, and 2GB of RAM. There's a 4GB of RAM version and 64GB of storage version, and if we're going to look at it, my own version should cost around $90 or 32,500 naira. And as far as the actual performance, loading tasks were quite fine. The Hot 8 runs on the Helio A22, a 12nm chipset, compared to 16nm on the Hot 7 Pro and a 28nm on the regular Hot 7. And as you know, the smaller the nanometer, the faster your processor is. So the Hot 8 is definitely faster than all the previous Hot devices this year. Now remember that I mentioned that this device has a Files app. Well, basically, Infinix's partnership with Google for this Hot 8 means that there is a much smaller Files app which can help you clean up storage space on your phone. Right now, I can clear up to 4GB of storage on my phone. And also, as you probably know, every Gmail user has 15GB of free storage. So with the Files app, you can easily back up your files, your images, movies, and a lot more. Lastly, for those with the Files app, you can easily share files. It's not like Zenda, but optimized for your phones specifically. Phone calls on this phone were pretty decent all through, no single complaint at all, and I didn't really have any network issue as I used it during my own personal usage. In terms of locking and unlocking security, you can only register one face to your device on like 5-finger registrations on the fingerprint side of things, but I like that you get the option to alter the behavior of your device when you want to unlock it with your face. And the fingerprint reader was decently fast, just the same way face unlock was also decently fast, and I actually like this animation that the face unlock shows. There's a total of 4 cameras on the Infinix Hot 8, and easily the one in front is an 8-megapixel camera which is accompanied by a flash, as I mentioned earlier, and the back has got a 13-megapixel main camera, 2-megapixel camera for depth sensing, and a VGA camera right below the flash. As far as image quality on the Infinix Hot 8, I found that the HDR quality was quite good even at sunset, although the regular AR mode shots were just fine, and sometimes they lost regions of the images and they were inconsistent. The HDR mode really brings out the quality here. It does shine a bit with its contrast and color saturation profile, but you know, the clouds are usually exposed. Outdoor selfies are bright with the right angles, and you can't go wrong with how sharp this looks. Well, in the dark though, I was not really a fan. No matter how much pictures I took, there was always noise. There was almost always noise, and the flash helps, but I wouldn't really recommend night selfies unless the moment is really important. Then that way some things can be overlooked. Portrait mode was also impressive. Although it softens the image, it still looks usable if you can edit it and tweak it. Zoom quality on the Hot 8 will always introduce some grain into the mix. I know it doesn't have the telephoto lens, but again, for almost 33,000 naira, it's something to think of. The video quality on the Hot 8 is only fair, and there is no actual optical or electronic image stabilization, as you can see. Alright, so this is the front-facing camera video quality of the Infinix Hot 8. It records in 1080p. This is the 1080p recording. Let me know what you guys think of this recording in the comment section down below. From what I can tell, it is quite grainy, and also, you know, that overexposure. The sun is not even out yet, and there is already overexposure. If I use my hand to block it, you can see it's just a wall and a gate that's actually there at the back, but because it wants to focus on my face and it keeps everything else overexposed and just focuses on the subject. So yeah, that's the front-facing camera video quality of the Infinix Hot 8. Let me know what you guys think of the front-facing camera video quality and the general audio quality of this camera in the comment section down below. So in summary, I think the battery on the Hot 8 is great and it lasts really well. I wish it had a fast charger bundle with it, as it would have been the ultimate combination. I also wish the phone didn't have a lot of ads in it. Also, gaming on this device wasn't a pleasant experience. I'm hoping that the 4GB RAM version would deliver better results as far as gaming. However, with the Google Files optimization, you may be able to get most from this device other than with games. So if I were to recommend this device, I would recommend it for users who need a big battery smartphone from Infinix but aren't super into gaming. XOS Cheetah is pretty much all the latest Infinix devices, so something like the Hot 7 Pro, although dated, may be a good choice. However, this has its own advantages in a bigger battery and the Google Files optimization with a faster processor, among other things. Do let me know your thoughts on this device in the comment section down below. If you found this video useful, please like and share it with someone who may find this video useful and find the information useful. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you'll be the first to know when I drop a new video. Thank you for watching this one, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.